All right, today I thought I would say something about Ron Paul's new book, End the Fed. And as we know, Ron Paul's been writing on this book for quite some time and is working on End the Fed. And this is the book that will come out sometime this fall, End the Fed by Ron Paul. And he, of course, is the New York Times best-selling author of The Revolution, a manifesto. And the thing with End the Fed is that it's closely tied to Ron Paul's work for a very long time and his bill now to audit the Fed. And hopefully that will go through Congress sometime very soon this summer. And that will be a major shakeup. And then the book and the Fed will come. So there will be a movement now, thanks to Ron Paul, to examine the Fed and hopefully to criticize the Fed heavily and hopefully to end it. Well, my role is to extend the perspective on this from not just the US, but to look internationally at the phenomenon. Because end the Fed, you might as well say, and the Bank of England, and Norges Bank, and the Swedish National Bank, and the European Central Bank, and them all. They're all on a fiat money standard. They're all on this close tie between politics, enormous government growth, and fiat money printed out of thin air. If we were on the gold standard as we were 100 years ago, it wouldn't be possible for the government to tax us as much and to grow as much, because they would actually need to pull in gold coins and physical gold. And people resist that. People resist being taxed. The reason why government has been able to grow so much as it has is that the tax has been indirect. The tax has come through inflation, money printing, and indirect taxes on sales tax and all that. It's not felt as directly as a direct tax where you actually pay up gold to pay for government. And if government had financed itself by gold that people would have to pay, then people would resist and vote differently. So the monetary system influences everything. It influences the political system. It influences what kind of government we have. It influences the size of the government. And the growth of government during the last 100 years has gone hand in hand with this fiat money system, with the Federal Reserve and the central banks printing fiat money, paper money. And we have to end that now. And I know that all our friends in the US, when the book comes out, End the Fed, I know that people will rally in the US. There will be lots of rallies. It will be on the news. It will be everywhere where people will pay attention to this and get it out in the media and make sure that people realize that the Fed is a unjust institution. It is stealing people's money. It's contributing to the growth of the government, to a suppressive government that's everywhere, and it's getting more and more fascist by the day. That will happen in the US. What we need to do outside the US, I'm right here in Oslo, Norway, is to put the same kind of emphasis on the central banks in our respective countries. So I want people to rally all over the world. If you follow the Ron Paul forums and the Daily Paul and all these sites that follow Ron Paul closely, also LewRockwell.com and Mises.org, you will most likely see that there will be new rallies to end the Fed, and there will be dates that will be set and announced, hopefully by Ron Paul himself, to end the Fed. And we have to, all over the world, make sure that we rally on those same days. We have to rally in Oslo, in London, in Paris, in Tokyo, in Mexico City, all over the world on those same dates, and participate in that kind of rally. And I will make sure that I make more videos where I go into the details, where we can compare the central banks around the world to the Federal Reserve, because a lot of it is very similar, but some things are also a bit different, and it can be useful to emphasize the differences here to get the message across even more explicitly. And I also hope that people will pick up the microphone like I do in different countries in the world, in Hungary, in Russia, in Japan, and do video lectures like these where the system is explained in the local language. So I have to do in Norwegian and Swedish and languages that I know how to speak, and the French someone French will have to do it in France and Germany and Italy and so on. So the End the Fed rally will be a huge thing this fall, and we have to participate. I'm so lucky I will be able to see Ron Paul in Spain in October. He's coming to a conference that's organized by the Mises Institute in Salamanca in Spain in October. And I did an interview with Ron Paul last year, so I'll see if I can do a bit of more of an interview and go more into depth about the international situation and how his work to end the Fed, how that corresponds in other countries in the world. And I believe it's a very important job that someone has to do. And if you want something done, you have to do it yourself, even with limited means. So I also encourage you out there, wherever you are, to pick up the microphone and do a video like I do to end the Fed in your local country and the central bank.